What's going on YouTube? This is Rybo at the Fake Bench again today. And I have another cut or carry watch review for you. Today, looking at the Seiko SNA411 Flightmaster. Now you have to forgive the lighting in here. As you can see, that is an overhead kitchen light. So with the situation I'm in right now, with no workshop, workbench, or anywhere to escape to in 2020, this is my situation. I am filming at the kitchen table as always, or as I have been for the last couple months, kind of in the little bits of time that I get, which are very scarce nowadays. And so this terrible lighting, a lot of glare, and I apologize, but we make it work. So today looking at the Flightmaster. So this is a very popular Seiko watch, a very interesting watch. So this is a kind of flight watch chronograph, but also 200 meters water resistant. Double pusher, screw down pushers, and screw down crown. Very, very interesting watch. 21 millimeters on the strap width here. That's kind of interesting as well. So all in all, just a very interesting watch. It's got this double domed crystal, and you can see all the distortions there. Really, really cool watch. Lots of complications and whatnot. So if you're new to the channel, my MO is, I'm not super technical, but I don't really get into a ton of the specs, so you can kind of look those up or see those somewhere else. Usually I will have calipers or just do some kind of basic specs, but I don't have those anymore. So I'm going to do just a quick size comparison. This is a SKX009, and this is the Flightmaster, and so you can see roughly the same size. You have 42 millimeters here, and I'm blanking on if this is labeled a 42 millimeter. I think it is. I think both of these are 42 mil, but very different watches, pretty much the same size though. Other things real quick before we get into it, I will show, this is not the stock strap, so this is just a cheap kind of mesh bracelet that I put it on that I think looks really, really good. This may be my favorite way to wear this watch, but it comes with this bracelet, which is this pretty chunky, pretty flashy bracelet from Seiko. It's nice, it's very comfortable, I liked it, but it was a little too blingy for me when I wore it at first. So I actually wore it on this, and this is a Watch Steward 21 millimeter. This is not the minimalist line, which is my favorite line of the Watch Steward, but this is, I think, the original. Very comfortable elastic strap, similar to like an Erica's, but very different in how you thread it and how you actually wear it on the wrist. A little bit thinner material than Erica's, more comfortable. Anyway, good strap. I think it looks very nice with this watch, but I really, really like the mesh, and so that's what I've been wearing it on. All right, so things that I like about this watch. So number one, the movement. So I want to say VK63, but this is one of Seiko's Mecha Quartz movements, and you can go online and read all about that. It's really fascinating. But what you really want to know, or what you really should be interested, is that this is a quartz movement, and you get that. You get a sweeping chronograph hand with a quartz movement. That is the beauty of the Seiko Mecha Quartz. There are other really awesome things, but that's kind of the cool factor of the Mecha Quartz. So I can stop that chronograph, and then I can reset it, and it'll go back. So that, to me, is the really cool thing about this watch. There is a lot of complexity here, and to have this being quartz is something I really like. I have a lot of automatic watches. This is a great grab-and-go watch. But to have a grab-and-go watch like that, also with a chronograph like that, is really, really awesome. Other things I like about the watch, you can't not love the double-domed crystal. Man, I mean, functionally, like probably not the best thing. When we talk about we love distortions in watches, that's probably counterintuitive. It is counterintuitive because it if anything, distorts your ability to see, but man, that is so awesome. I've heard the love of watches being described as, it's kind of like a snow globe. Like you have this, entire world on your wrist that's encaptured under this glass dome. This really gives you that feel. There is so much, There is so much going on under there, and you have this really, really domed crystal. It's just cool. I mean, watches are cool. That's why we spend money on gear. It's not because it's functional most of the time, it's because it's cool. And this watch is very, very cool. Other things I like about it, the bezel is excellent. So this is a bi-directional bezel. It'll go either way, and it's very smooth. So you don't have the stepped clicks, which usually is a downside. But on a bezel like this, I find it never really bumps. One of the issues you have if you don't have kind of a locking, rotating bezel is you can kind of bump it during the day and it'll knock off course, which obviously kind of defeats the point. This one I've had no issues with. It's got enough resistance, but it's very, very smooth, very easy to turn, very, very enjoyable bezel to use. Now, I don't know how to use any of the numbers on here or do any of the slide rule or any of that, but you know, I like the way that it turns. You can use this same as you would a dive bezel, right? So you can, you know, set it to, you know, time starting right here, and you know, you'll see as the review goes on, you'll see the elapsed time because you'll see the minute hand track from here. So very simple things, but very, very useful on a dive watch, and the same is true here. Other things that I like that it has screw down pushers and crown, making this 200 meters water resistance, which is not something you see on a non-dive watch very often. Heck, you don't see 100 meters water resistant on some dive watches, so 200 meters is awesome. Other things I really like the loom. Seiko loom obviously is fantastic. It's probably not going to be, oh yeah, there you go. This loom is really great, especially on a watch like this. Again, it's kind of one of those features of a dive watch that you're getting with this. So I really like that. Other things I like, the pushers are really easy to use. You know, that's often a problem with chronographs, but these are really easy to push, really easy to use, no problem. Plenty of space there, but they don't feel like they're protruding too far out and digging into the wrists, which I really like. Other things I like, I think that's about it. It's a cool watch. That's kind of my take on the SNA411. So things that I don't like, for as much of a cool watch as it is, I just don't find myself really using a lot of the complications. So my buddy who sold me this, Russ, shout out, told me, you know, the first day I got this, I'm looking at all of the different features, and I'm setting the alarm and doing all this stuff. And he's like, yeah, these are all like the coolest complications that you'll never use. I remember at the time thinking like, yeah, right, like this is going to become, no, it didn't. I never used them, probably won't ever use them. But they are cool. So it's cool, but it's not really functional. Other things that I don't like about the watch, I have fairly small wrists. Today I'm wearing this older Kinetic Perpetual Seiko. That was my grandfather's. And while I think the watch wears okay, I don't know. Because of how that double-domed crystal is and the thickness of the watch combined with the, you know, the size of at least 42 millimeters, this is on my larger wrist. It's a little bit bulky, and it feels kind of like there's just this big watch head. The way that they have the lugs on this watch, where they are way down deep into like right up against the case, you can see that right there. Just the watch doesn't wear super well on my wrist. It wears really, really high. And it just feels like no strap can really support it, even though they technically are. It's not like super heavy or anything, but I don't love the way that it wears on wrist, and I don't love the way that it looks on wrist. I like the way that it looks much better, you know, sitting here on the table, which is not a great aspect of a watch. Other things that I don't like, the only other thing I can think of is, you know, the watch is a little bit busy. That is the thing that makes it cool, but it's a bit busy for my taste. I really enjoyed it, but at the end of the day, there's just a lot here that's more for show than for use, in my opinion. You know, but that's definitely personal preference. So cut or carry on this watch has been a little bit tough for me, but I think I've arrived at a conclusion that I feel pretty good about. This is going to be a cut for me. This is a really cool watch. I'm going to sell this one. I am not convinced that I won't own one in the future, but this is just a watch that I've had for several months, and I've not really found myself wearing all that much. Now, when I do wear it, I enjoy it, but I never love the way that it looks on my wrist. So it's one of those watches that I think is really cool. It's just not really for me. I think certain people can pull it off, certain people can enjoy it. I've certainly enjoyed playing with it. I just haven't enjoyed wearing it quite as much. So cut for me, but I still think that it's a really cool watch that you now cannot see because of the kitchen glare, because I'm in the kitchen. All right. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you next time.